My husband and I went magnet fishing the other day. We had a great time. We got a late start, so we didn't have much daylight to work with, but anytime we get to go and spend time together and see what we can find, it's a fun time. So the first thing that I brought up was just a piece of rubbish. It was just a thin piece of metal, like from a can or something like that. The next thing that I brought up was the most exciting thing that I found for the day. It was such a treat. I had to bring it up very slow because the magnet did not have a very good grip on it. It was on the side instead of on the flat part. I thought it was the top to a paint can or something. It's just a round, but it was heavy, so I knew that couldn't be what it was. And once I got it on the bridge and got it off of the magnet, I realized that it's an eye from an old cook stove. Now, what are the odds? The part I'm showing you now actually fits on the inside of the eye. That rim keeps it down in there, and then when I flip it over, that's the actual top that you cook on. Very exciting. The next thing that I brought up was a thin piece of metal, just a metal strip. And then this I was curious about. I think it's magnetic closure for a cabinet or something, because it's really magnetic, and it wanted to keep going back to the magnet. It wanted to keep sticking to the magnet. So just a piece of metal and some little closure or something, and lots of sediment and debris. You have to clean that off your magnet, because if you throw it back in with all that gunk on it, it won't be as strong. So you have to keep cleaning all that mess off. We recently had some flooding, so there's lots of trash and debris along the creek bank, which is it's really sad. My husband brought up this, which was really exciting. He said it's a rock. It's just a piece of rock. We thought maybe, well, it might be a meteorite, because it's magnetic, but we weren't sure. It had some strange holes in it where the rock had eroded over time. He had dropped his magnet back in there, so he had to bring it back up. And we found out that the rock itself was not magnetic, but there was a thin layer of metal on top of the rock attached to the rock. So that was what was magnetic. It was a piece of metal attached to a piece of concrete, and that explained the holes. So no telling how long that had been down there. The next thing that I grabbed hold of was, oh my gosh, I can't explain how heavy this was. This was so heavy. I lifted it for a little ways, and then I told my husband, I said, I can't get it. You're going to have to help me. So he came to my rescue as usual, and he brought it the rest of the way up. I was trying to adjust the camera, but it was, oh, so heavy to be such a little thing. It looks like the part where a doorknob would go, but it's not. It's probably a piece off of a railroad track or something. And then we ran into a problem. It's solid steel, and he couldn't get the magnet apart from it. So I suggested that he try to slide it off, but no, he had to He-Man it off of there. So he finally got it off. But he said that thing weighed between 15 and 20 pounds. Big, thick piece of solid steel. It's a good find. And keeping along that line, I had to bring up a smaller piece of steel. It seemed like it was the day for pieces with openings in them, because this is just a bracket. I had to take my foot to get it off too, because it's just solid steel. It had a little bit of a curve in it. My husband brought up another piece. This one had a sharp edge on it, and then also attached to his magnet were lots of little things. He brought up, there's a drill bit on there, and I was curious about that round piece he has in his hand. It's just a round piece of magnetic rock. Just all kinds of other little doodads on there. You can tell it's getting darker out. I was excited about this one. I thought this was a pair of brass knuckles when I first pulled it up, because that's what it looks like. It looks like brass knuckles, but it's just some piece of metal grating or something. And again, lots of magnetic rock and sediment, nails, little things like that. I had brought up another old rusty nail, a little magnetic rock that I threw back in, and then that's a piece of barbed wire or rebar or something. I almost got my magnet stuck on the bridge here. I almost did it again. Been there, done that, but thankfully it let go. And I brought up a good old railroad spike, which is also solid steel, and it didn't want to come off the magnet. Wonder where that came from. The railroad track is right there. You can see the mines a little bit there. This was my last find of the day, and I was curious because they both came up together on the same at the same time. Just two little pieces of spike or big nails. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.